Mr. Hökmark, thank you so much for this interview. Is for the EU the refugee crisis an additional problem after the debt crisis, Greece and so on, or an opportunity?
I would say it's an additional problem, it's a challenge, but it's also an important opportunity in very many perspectives. First of all, it's an opportunity to show and manifest that the European Union can mobilize all the opportunities and strengths of the different member states and do something more, so to say, making 1 + 1 be 3. But also an opportunity and a challenge in order to show that we can contribute to the world community, but also take a moral responsibility. But maybe even more, which we tend to forget just now. It is in our own eyes how we look upon those who are coming now. Are they future beneficiaries to our social welfare systems, or are they future workers and employees in our economies? And I lean to the second, because I know that is the case if we do the right things.
How is Sweden, your country, managing the refugee crisis? While we are speaking, hundreds of refugees are crossing the border between Germany and Denmark. So it's a very hot topic, I believe, in your country.
First of all, it underlines the need that all European countries shall take their responsibility. It's not up to one country to do that. We need to do it, all of us, because we're all based on the same values, and we all need to live up to the moral responsibility to save the lives of people who are fleeing from death. Germany does so. Denmark does it much more than the rumor says. And Sweden is today doing it more than anyone else, and that is not the sustainable thing. We need to do more, all of us, and others need to do much more. I think we are, in some way, we are dealing with it, and we could deal with it better. We could be better regarding integration and labor markets. We could be better in a number of ways, but we are still, and I think that makes me a little bit proud. We are trying what we can.
What would you say to those who consider these refugees waves a threat to the European security and welfare?
I disagree with them. They are wrong in a fundamental way, because Europe needs, out of demographic reasons, new generations and young people and more people to come. And you can see that in Sweden, but also in a number of other countries, in the healthcare, in the care of elderly, in the taxis, or in the surgeons, researchers, etc. I mean, we are not anymore part of the world where Swedes are only Swedes in the traditional meaning, and Germans, etc. We are a rather open society, and that is, if we do it right, it's a rather dynamic opportunity. If you do it wrong, it can create conflicts. And I am mostly afraid of that those who are against change create an unholy alliance against those who are against refugees and foreigners, because then they are causing a stalemate. But if we can achieve alliance for change in Europe, making our economies more open, more dynamic, then these people will come with the rules we are to have, and with the security we need to enforce, that it will be a contribution to our future.
There are a lot of theories regarding this exodus. How do you assess the theories about an organized exodus hitting Europe from Syria, from Ethiopia, Afghanistan and other African or Middle East countries?
I don't assess it at all, because it's so obvious if you look upon Syria and Iraq that the reason, the cause for this wave of refugees is the killing of people, the brutality, the atrocities, mass raping, mass killing. Is so very obvious.
So no organized exodus?
I think there is certainly a lot of organized. You know, we have traffickers, illegal traffickers, people who are using other people's need in order to earn huge money, of course. But in general, this is caused by huge conflict with a lot of tragedies in the Middle East. And one thing I would like Europe to do much more is, of course, to fight the cause of the crisis. I think we need to fight ISIS. I think we need to support those who are fighting ISIS. And I think we should set the limits and also get rid of the Syrian regime, because it is the killer number one in this part of the world.
Speaking about security or insecurity, is there any reason to be afraid of this influx of refugees in Europe?
I think we shall be careful and sensitive that, for example, ISIS is not trying to get people into our societies with a totally different aim, but it is not that perspective we can have. So we need to be able to do a lot of things. I mean, we need to be intelligent and human beings, and that means that we are to meet the security threats of different kinds, but live up to the fundamental requirements of a human society. And when young girls or mothers or young boys or their fathers are fleeing because the alternative is that they will be executed, shot, bombed, raped, etc., then of course it's a matter of moral responsibility, and I want Europe to take moral responsibility, not being naive, but being moral.
What about the Gulf, the rich Gulf countries? Europe is doing a lot, but how should EU act in order to get also those countries on board in this issue?
I think they should do much more, and not the least they should help Lebanon, Turkey, Jordan to deal with the local refugee problem, which is of a magnitude much bigger than the one that is coming to Europe. But I do also think that they should be more decisive to fight the ISIS and to fight the Assad regime, because it is a destabilization. It is even more, much more people than are fleeing from the region are killed by these terror organizations and this terror regime.
Mr. Hökmark, my last question. What would be a long-term solution for this kind of crisis? Because probably it will be not the last one that Europe will face.
No. You know, I don't believe there are long-term solutions. I think in human history we have never seen a long-term solution for anything. We need to develop, we need to adjust, we need to deal with the problems. And we will see for quite a long time, in a foreseeable future, an era in the world where people are moving, fleeing, getting away from conflicts. And it's more of a challenge. What we have seen, and we see it very clearly in Europe, those countries were able to adjust.
In Balkans, for instance, we had 20 years ago, we had the same issue, the same ways of refugees coming from the Western Balkans in Europe.
Yes. And a lot of them came to Sweden, and a lot of them are today doctors in Swedish healthcare. So it is important to...
It's a give or take also in this issue.
It's a give or take, or it depends on how you look upon it. If you have decided from the point of departure that people coming from another country are dangerous, or you are to be hostile against them, then you will face huge problems in the future. If you see human individuals as a gift and as an opportunity, you will see that we can do a lot more, not neglecting the problems that will come from huge migration waves, and not neglecting the problem when different people meet with each other, but still it's totally a different perspective with lots of opportunities. And I think to have that perspective is not the solution, but the right way and the right approach.
Mr. Hökmark, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.